right, guys. Happy Friday. Happy Valentine's Day. Well, okay, we're going to get to Bitcoin here in a second. I've got a few alts teed up. Before we do that here, just to, I don't make a habit of this, but we have a Valentine's Day sale going on, right, for our membership opportunities for if you want to get into the belt system or just get access to some of the additional channels within our Discord. These are some discounted savings here. This will run, I think, through the 18th. We'll have this running. So if you're interested, right, you want to join us, right, it's a nice way to save a little money. So that will be, you'll see that again over the weekend, I think through midnight the 18th. All right, so just if you want to click on one of these and see what they are and what that gets you, right, it'll give you all the details here. Right, so easy for you to evaluate whether or not that's something within your budget, something that would make sense to you, and something you would recognize as being a value. Okay, guys, with that, I will get off of that, and I'm going to come back to Bitcoin. Okay, so snooze. A lot of crypto is a little sloppy right now. The Bitcoin, no exception here. Now, of course, in log scale, we're just kind of going sideways. The Elliott count is a little, again, sloppy is the word I would use. And we just look at it here, we're just going sideways, right? So clearly, well, I shouldn't say it that way. High probability, we're just in a 4. We've stopped progressing this nice trend and we're stalling. Certainly plenty of potential for this to kick up. What do I have on here? I think this is a 50. This is a hull, just a shorter term. It's very responsive. But we're staying underneath that. We're just kind of inside this large bar here. This needs to kick. So if we go, it's daily. If I go over to a 4 hour here on Coinbase, sloppy as can be. Okay, is there a count in here? Yeah, it's definitely not. Maybe I've got a 1 here. Maybe we're doing this. Right? It's hard to be definitive, right? 1, maybe I got a 2 down here, and then we're going to go into another 1, 2, and then another 1, 2. Okay, well, if this kicks and we start to get this, okay, that will start to get some traction. I've not lost my bullish feeling. My bullish enthusiasm, perhaps is a better way to say it, but this is just slop, right? The market is kind of waiting, right? So we're gonna need some muscle to step in here and push this. I don't think the low. Well, if we come back here, the only thing that you might consider as a potential target, right? The lows down here. They've been swept here. I'm just using this. Who is this? I think it's ALGO. It's just a liquidity, identifying where the liquidity is. Now this has been swept. Okay, there's potential for this one more push down, right? The market doesn't have to do it, right? But you could certainly see the potential for that would probably freak out the market. It would blow up the idea that we're in a 1-2. We'd have some sort of deeper correction here and would kill the idea that we have a 1 if we're sweeping this low. So, okay, I'm not terribly worried about that, but just let's be mindful of that. This all the better here if we can sweep this high and get a bit of a market structure shift. Looks promising, but let's not fill in the blanks just yet, right? This is a potential route that this could head. As you can see here, if I do it over here, this is the pivot we kind of need to break. Let's we can call that an MSS, right? So if we can break this, okay, then we're potentially, it looks like we're leaving these wicks behind. And perhaps, right, we don't need to come back to them. Oh, I guess they'll, pick your pivot. Here, triangle. It's a bit hard to be definitive about what we have here because it's just kind of sloppy sideways. So I don't think there's any rush to do anything. You might take a nibble here. I don't encourage a lot of leverage here when it's that unclear. Why, right? Why add the potential to get liquidated? Just my opinion, right? To trade as you'd like, based on what you see. Okay, now I've got a few alts teed up here. Let me grab those here because there's just across the board. Again, it's just sloppy everywhere. So hang on a sec. Okay, in the alt space, probably the strongest. And certainly one we want to look at with regards to potential ETF. Looks like the ETF is going to happen. So this, we want to pay attention here. Now, again, the Elliott's gotten a bit sloppy here. This is a bit of a wag here. But let's go into a 4 hour. By wag, I mean a wild ass guess. Is it valid? Yeah. Is it pretty? Not really. we'd have to put the 1 here, A, B, C into the 2. It's kind of a weird extended 1, 3, consolidate. Oh, so could call it a triangle or if just a running flat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I get a decent finish here, but it's a bit odd to go 1, 2, extended 1. You know, again, it's not like it doesn't happen. It's just a bit unusual. So do we finish up here? Well, if we finished, what are we finishing? This would be a 5 of the proposed 3 at this degree. Oh, let's go to an 8. Maybe see that a little bit better. Yeah, this has been such clean Elliott, and then we just kind of got stuck here. 1, 2, 3. Looks like we'd go 4 here. You know, you're kind of, what is the market implying, right? That's kind of what you've got here. And then 1, 2, 3, a bit bigger than I would have liked, but okay, you can see the clear sweep of the lows, right? That is what I was talking about with Bitcoin, right? You've got that potential for that, and then that's what you want to see is the launch off of it. Now we're, again, all the way back to it. But potentially, you've got your pivot here for the 3, so we'd be looking for the 4 between the 23.38, which you're looking at that going, oh, wait, I thought we were bullish because of the ETFs. Well, yes, but you could certainly understand because everybody now knows that that's coming, what do whales want to do, right? They want to buy it lower. So a push lower wouldn't be unreasonable to suspect that we might see something like that to get this into a higher probability location. Again, market's under no obligation to come down here. It's just where does it usually go? Oh, let's put, oh fuck, right here, we'll just call it demand, right? So potentially we've got demand down here. Watching, you know, this is naked, just sitting down here. You know, again, just be mindful of it. I wouldn't freak out. If anything, right, that's good news, right? It's an opportunity to buy it lower. So, you know, of course, the media will say, you know, your feed will be full of Solana's crashing, right? Which, you know, is that Solana crashing? Right? It looks to me like that's Solana offering a better buy price, right? Would be how I would see that. But the media likes to sensationalize everything, right? Bitcoin drops 3,000 and it's crashing. Okay, so that's Solana. I would certainly keep an eye on this because of that brewing in the background with the ETF. It certainly looks like that's going to happen. The Solana ETF. So this is kind of a big deal, right? You know, whales will be active in here. Oh, you could also just consider, all right, if this is the low and this is the high, you know, let me get out of log scale here. It changes it dramatically in log scale, but that way, so I can see, okay, where am I in discount? Oh, here, let's see. Oh, let me go back to log. That might screw you up a little bit. I can do it here. I've got this set. So if here's my lowest low, here's my highest high. If I go to, where are you? 50 for log, right? So here we've been tapping this. So even if I were to pull this up and get that discount premium zone here. Okay, a couple of taps into the discount. Well, it doesn't look like that would be the 4, does it? All right, it hasn't taken long. It's not enough time. So what you'd ideally want to see, right? And again, the market media will, Solana's crashing, right? Right for the ETF. No. Right, and that would certainly balance it out. I mean, look at the length of time here. Oh, what we got here from this? Let's just take that. 132 days from the high here. We went out. You know, you don't have to match it, but something like that. At least it'd be a little bit closer, something along those lines. So it's a bit more balanced. Now I'm not saying that it can't rip to new all-time highs here. It's just if indeed we're holding here and the 3 is in, if that 3 is in, I'd want to see more time pass for that 4, right? To really go, oh man, load the boat. But what happens to us, right? This thing will start to kick and it'll say, oh fuck, it's going, right? It's going, right? Oh, whoops. So be selective. If it were start to go, likely you'd be reconsidering the 3, right? So maybe 1, 2, and we're getting an extension of the 3, and all of this pushes up higher. I'd be more inclined to think that way rather than that we're going to have this very, 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 very short 4 in time. That seems very unlikely. So now, how do we distinguish between the two? Well, if this low gets swept, right, we can't go 1, 2. Bring it down, man. I'd happily load up there. So nothing definitive here. Just got to watch it, right? You know it's, what do we do? I guarantee we're in a squeeze, right? Squeeze. Right? What do we know comes from a squeeze? Right? Squeeze is good news, not bad news. We know that because we don't have to guess. We know from that will come expansion, right? absolute guaranteed. One thing that we can guarantee, from contraction will come expansion. Okay, what else do I have here? Hang on a sec. Render. Well, if Solana is going to go, this would be one of the coins that would benefit from that. Okay, I'm out of log scale here to get some perspective. Oh, what do I have on here? This is. I think this is a free one. Buy side, sell side liquidity, decent one, right? To see, okay, where is the potential liquidity being grabbed? A very. I'm over on crypto on the aggregator here, so I can get full history. 1, 2. Well, renders kind of, look like we were off to the moon here, and of course, giving it all back, right back to these lows here. Can you make sense of that? Well, kind of again, right? We can go through all the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but okay, here, broad strokes, looks like that's what we're doing, right? After this big rip higher, down to the 3, double bottom here. We've got liquidity. Okay, can we get going? Maybe, right? So let's see how we look here. This went A, B. Looks like you've got there's kind of a skinny 3 in there. It looks like you've got a contender. Let's go to maybe a 3 hour here. We should do this a little bit better. 1, 2. Is that my 3? Well, there's an impulse right there, so it's not great. And unless you put the 2 here, and then you have to go A, B. Are we doing a C here? Well, we can't do a triangle. Remember, for a 2, that's one thing that we just can't do. But because this looks like a 5. Yeah. Oh, shit, hang on a second. All right, I had to do a little count correction there on the fly. Every now and then I catch myself having moved too fast. Okay, right. So if it looks to me like we've got to go W, X, and then we're looking to get this to complete as an ABC. It's tricky, right? So much of crypto is just a little. We don't have great Elliott showing up here, but A, it looks like we got to go B, and it looks like we got a 1 A, B, C. Oh, let's go to a 4 here. You see this a little bit better. Looks like we've got to go A, B, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into that C. So we have to expand the B into the C, and then 1 A. Oh shit. Let's get it over here. A, B, C, because I need the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to get the 3 here. So I need an impulse here. So I can get that done. Certainly, right? Your thought is that, oh, it's a triangle, right? But we can't have a triangle there. But I've got a perfect impulse here into the 4. But that tells me I get to a 3 here, process of elimination. If I've done A, B, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, can we blow this thing up? Yeah. If we start to rip too much higher, you've got a little pivot here. For that 4, one more shoot down. Now, if we take that back to a daily, that's not bad news, right? If you're a bull here on render, you're getting a better price here down here. It depends how you look at it, right? If you're long, you're like, oh shit, I don't want it coming down here. But you'd certainly have a better technical setup here if we can get into some of this lower. You see, there's just a double here. If we get into some of this that has been unmitigated, right? We haven't touched it. So if we get into some of that, right, and get kind of a one last little swoop down, and then take that right in the first retest, right, looking for that to come out of it. We shall see, right? Of course, that's, ideally, that's what you'd like to see here. But remember, we're looking for a 2. So deeper is not necessarily worse because it's pretty shallow here. Again, assuming we're in log scale. 1, 2 down here into this prior, It's tricky, right? You got to get up here. Okay, this is definitely a 1, 2. So it gets us up to a 1 here. W, X. I need that to complete before I'm going to put money at risk. Is something that I can recognize. So if I can get the 1 more, I would need something like this to kick it, and then it's not sitting down here. Although you could start to accumulate here. Ideally, you'd want to see the 5 here sweep that low, or that pivot. Then second time down to load the boat, right, to get that. Because with the Solana ETF, right, this should be one of the coins that will benefit from that entire ecosystem. Okay, so I've got that. I thought I caught that here. That would have been some sloppy Elliott, not like it would be the first mistake I've ever made. But these are quite tricky. It looks like, right, it wants to go, but it's technically. Right, it's got to prove itself. Okay, let's keep going here. I've got a list of a few more. Curve Dow. Curve. We've had a a few losers with this. We've been battling for this, but the big drop here sort of eliminated any idea. So working best as we can here. It looks like a 1, 2, 3, 4. It looks like we do truncate here, which I know, right? But to truncate, it's horrible. If we go to a line chart, right, you see it a little bit better. We get a higher close here. So it's not an unreasonable solution here for this to have completed with that. You know, if we go to a candle here, yes, it's a truncation, but it looks like there's a little diag here, an ending diag to finish that 5. Is it ideal? Of course not. Look at the 2 to the 4. Of course, it's not ideal. But where are we in the retracement? I'd be very challenged to find a better solution. We're already to. It looks like we're already. Are we past gold? And we might be. No, we're not to it yet. So I highlighted this order block here. Is this 1, 2, 3, 4? Well, it's, you know, of course it's horrible. Take it out of log scale. Okay, then maybe a little bit better, but still the length of the 2 is just horrific, right? Compared to the 4. Now, so you'd certainly have alternation, right? Sideways to sharp. W, you got to do a triangle here. A, B, C, D, E. It's a little funky on the E, right? But E is often, right, the weird one. 5, 3, 5, 1, 2. Wishful thinking, perhaps, right? I don't know that I would be aggressive here. But again, one to keep on your watch list. Possibly a little kick here. Now, ideally, you complete the 5 here, and you take the retrace, right? So we get, oh, God, never the first time. We get this, 3, 4. Maybe it's a diag, right? You'd want to maybe look for something to retrace. So keep this one on a watch list, right? Because the potential here is, well, just to get back to the old highs, right, would certainly be pretty substantial returns on any investment you made in this. When we go to log scale, you know, do we have to be in log scale? Well, from 18 cents to $1.50, yeah, you have to be. But it's always worthwhile to look at it in both, right? So you get some perspective, right? It certainly distorts here. Here, at least the 4 looks. While length of time is dramatically different, but it's radically sharp to flat, right? So we can at least perhaps talk ourselves into that. Again, I wouldn't be, you know, loading the boat here. But one on your radar. I've got one other here. No, pardon me, I've got 2 more, right? So and then we'll call it a day. Probably be a short one today. Okay, this is ORAI chain. I do have some pretty good piece of this. Looks like we might have. Let me take this off here. We might have an ending diag here that has now broken. Let's go to a 1 hour here. We're getting out of here with a 5, right? We begin and end with 5s, right? That's how it works in Elliott Wave. If I can get that one out of there. Okay, right? So we got a possible ending diag here to give us the completion of the 4 at this degree. So 1, 2. Okay, it's not terrible. Let's focus in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right now, we don't have the market structure shift right here. Right, you'd like to see that. Don't have it yet. Oh, don't have it yet, but you've got this nice. Oh, come here. I got a nice channel here. God, I never get it on the first one. Nice channel, right? Which is what I want to see in an impulse, right? So critical when I can find it, right? If I get that, right? So based on everything we've looked at so far, this one has the best looking TA. So where am I looking to buy it? Well, not now. I'm going to buy it down here on the retrace, right? And is this the start of it? Certainly contender. It's not on every exchange, right? So you're going to need, you'll have to find where it's available for you. KuCoin, right, is what I'm working with here. Contender, right? Again, I just put an alert on the 50. That's all I do. Put an alert on it, and then okay, I want to come take a look at it. Am I getting a nice clean 3 here? Does it need to come lower? What do I see? Well, you probably draw this just as a big order block here for demand under the golden zone. Okay, so hang on. And our last one today, it looks like Link here setting up for potentially, right? The setup here is quite bullish. You'll note I'm out of log scale again. Just to get some perspective on this. Oh, what am I on? Let's go to a daily. So the very long waiting period, right? Contraction, expansion. 1, 2. If indeed, not likely 3. So 1, 2, 1, 2, pretty bullish. We're going up here, right? Very, very bullish potentially, right? It's just potentially right now. But certainly, I wouldn't sleep on this one. Let's go down, maybe a 2 hour here, look at this retrace. Well, that's not much better. So you're kind of working with, okay, what's implied? Oh, I should probably have to do that. WXY. WXABC, right? Can we? Now that's some dirty Elliott. No question about it. The implication here, I think, is reasonable. I don't think that's an unreasonable implication. If we've gone 1, 2, the geometry is good. Let's get this back set. Now let's get to, let's go to a 4-hour here and get to log scale. Again, kind of the same problem here. We have a long drifting 2. This is too short here, so I'm sort of tying the 2 together here, and then I get a decent 3, a very abrupt 5, and again, log distorts it a bit. If I do it this way, so I think it shows itself a bit better. Yes, this is long. Again, we have that alternation between sideways flat and then very sharp. Push up to the 5. Yeah. This is really bumpy. Oh, you could probably do it here as well. A, B, C into the X, and then A, B. Are we done here? Well, that's just a waterfall. So you're seeing this a lot in crypto right now. Is this a 1, 2? Let's go to a 2-hour here. Okay, maybe, right? It's not a great start, right? To go push and then just get flat line. Or just go into a range, right? You can just look at it that way, right? We've got liquidity on either side, right? So likely you'd get both sides swept here. So it's a bit, okay, a little bit of wishful thinking. Okay, is this what we have? Maybe. Oh, let's go down a bit here and change that color so we don't get lost in what we're doing here. 1, 2, 1, 2, or is it we got something here? A, B, it's ugly. You know, there's no way around it, right? It's not always going to have perfectly printed 5s and 3s, right? Sometimes you just got to work with what's there. Does that mean, okay, time to accumulate? Oh, let's see. I guess I don't have anything underneath. No, I don't, but I don't even have to wonder. It's going to be, that'll be a squeeze as we sit here consolidating, right? Black is squeeze. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Duh. You didn't even need to look at it. A lot of squeeze, right? Look, black. Look how many we're just squeezing, right? It's just, you know, are we revving the engine? It wouldn't surprise me at all if all of a sudden, okay, we're going to do a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and get that one of the 3. Now, again, kind of the same idea here. You'd want to see some sort of a sweep here, right? Can we get a market structure shift there? Oh, what do I got them? You might, right? So lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high. Oh, I'm kind of just drifting sideways now. Can I get a little kick here? Change the trend, or get that trend starting to kick that direction? Well, then you'd be against same process every time. Well, then I'd be looking here, doing this. Oh, let's match the color, right? So we know what's what. Okay, can I get that to go for the 3? Well, if I get the 3, then I'm doing this. Right, then we're doing this, so we can track the channeling within that proposed potential, right? We don't know that this is what's coming, but the potential for this to kick is a 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into that 3. More, you know, we'd have, well, oh, let's see. Will we have a start? Well, this would be a change of character. So you really need this kick up here for that big break of structure to really confirm, okay, we're going, right? So maybe the 3, what do we anticipate after a break of structure? Retrace, which would set up the 4 into the 5. What's that going to be? Is that going to be 3? Likely not. That's 1 of 3. So you step back and think about, oh, where could this be going? Where could we be going? If this is 1, 2, 1, 2, oh, I should probably take this up. This would be a higher degree. We go intermediate. Take you down. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2 again. I mean, it just gets more and more bullish, right? As you start working through this. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. Now maybe we get a 3 here. Something's going to have to really rip. If this is the 1, 2, see, even if you extend the, let's get that out of there. Even if you extend the 3 and you get a 2, 6, 1, 8 or something like that, it's still likely not going to be the 3. Now, you know, it could be an ABC and be corrective, right? So, you know, yeah, I'm well aware of that. So, but right now, is that what you're thinking? right? That this is going to turn into some complex correction. Looks to me like we've got enough time here into this correction, enough complexity into it, enough bullish enthusiasm across the crypto space for a major player like Link that we could be really setting up for a launch. But again, don't fill in all the blanks in your mind's eye, right? Okay, let's let it show it to us. Rather than go, I know it's going to go. I just have a hunch. I feel it. See, okay, I'm just saying don't do that. But okay, if you're doing that, recognize that you're doing that. So you're kind of throwing all the TA out the window and just saying, well, I like it down here. Okay, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just, know what you're doing. Okay, that's all I got, right? It's been kind of a weird week. A lot of volatility as the market. The one thing that is kicking is tech, right? Just we're in one of those unusual times where all news is bullish news. So we're not seeing that reflected in crypto just yet, but certainly in the equity markets, it's risk on. Hopefully crypto is going to catch up next week or in the coming weeks, and we'll start to get some of this potential start to be realized. Okay, guys, that's all I got. Just a reminder here. We'll have these deals going on. Some of these, right? So it's worth clicking on them so you understand what you're going to get in each one of them because they're a little bit different, right? But if you want the belt system, that's where you're going to go there. Okay, guys, have a good weekend. We'll catch you next week.